Hey, it's Reimers, back for month 17. I'll be the first to say things have kind of, slowed down a bit. I think it's just been really hard to find time. Like, I wrote down in my notes for this month that, like, I think the first week there were definitely multiple, like, 0 Korean days in a row. Um, and, something I think that's really interesting is there's definitely still like time to make it happen, right? Like everyone has like 1 to 2 hours in their day, um, but I think the choices are a lot harder, right? So I think obviously, um, most people have kind of like small things where they maybe waste their time, right? Like I use Instagram Reels, TikTok, just kind of like scrolling on Reddit or Twitter. And I think back home, I had enough time to do both of those things and the amount of Korean I wanted to do. And now I think that there's really probably only time for one of them. And so the decisions are a lot harder, right? When I'm about to go to bed and I have like 20 minutes and it's like, okay, like, am I going to watch the Korean video and then this is going to be like a kind of pretty large portion of the Korean I'm going to do today? Or am I going to watch some TikTok or some like other YouTube video and it's just like really going to take a big hit into my Korean? And I think it's been interesting this month kind of observing my behavior around, obviously I'm still doing it and I'm kind of committing for, another like year really. And so I think there's definitely something admirable about people who stick with long-term skills. I remember discussing this with a friend and with my therapist. There's kind of these long-term skills like learning an instrument and learning a language, and I think like developing a strong physique in the gym, and a lot of like other kind of more niche academic ones as well. But these are things that take years of consistent work and often have a high degree of delayed gratification. And I think that clearly it is admirable to see people who have been able to commit despite that, right? There is this quote that I saw on TikTok, and it goes, it's a little cheesy, but it goes along the lines of like, never give up on a dream because the time it will take to accomplish it, the time will pass anyway. And I remember, many years ago when I was working on Japanese, I remember like looking back at the last like 6 months and being like holy shit, like I did nothing. Like if I had only spent like 30 minutes, an hour more each day, um, I think I could have done so much. I could have made so much progress. And I also think that the like scales of time are also very different looking backwards and forward, right? Like to me, to think out a year from now, it feels very, very far away, right? Like every single day of a year, it's like, it feels like a long time, but thinking back to a year ago, it's like, oh, like that, that just wasn't that long ago. Like really, yeah. And so, I definitely am kind of happy with myself for continuing to do it for this long, but obviously, and this is, I pulled up the JS Paint here because if you remember from the first video, I think the graph was like this, which is like this is like time, and this is like average skill, where like the beginner gains are really big, right? The slope is quite high, and then things start to flatten out a bit more. And I would say like I think I'm like here-ish. I think like when I kind of introspect on my own skill level, like I don't really feel that much better than I did basically, before the summer started. I'm not sure if that's true. But I'll be honest, like the summer I like since probably like May. I don't think I've kind of really felt like a strong commitment to Korean. It's just been something I've kind of been maintaining, so that I can just say I'm still doing it, and I still want to do it. And I think so. There's definitely like one, like as you get better, it gets harder to I guess, notice the skill improvement, and like the skill improvement becomes like, oh, like I learned this word that I'll see like once every, you know, 2 hours of TV instead of once every like 20 minutes of TV, right? And so I guess in combination with that, like my time and maybe my like fervor to learn Korean has also kind of like gone down. And I think like, you know, back in high school, like I had like a ton of time, and then the summer I had like less time, and now like it's kind of like in between. And you know, I think these factors combining, I guess to me makes it feel like the progress has kind of slowed a bit. I remember I had talked to a mentor of mine a couple weeks ago about the fact that I felt quite embarrassed to tell people I'd been learning. You know, there's a couple of reasons for that, but one of the reasons was I feel like, you know, you tell someone you've been learning for 1.5 years, and that's a long time, and they would expect some sort of skill level, and that I would not meet that skill level. And like, obviously it's like, you know, who gives a shit, right? And you know, I totally agree, right? Like, it really doesn't fucking matter. But I think that it definitely, in terms of like motivation to keep going, like you want to feel like you're still making progress. And like, I think there was a time where earlier in the month, you know, I'd watched some content that I like maybe had like previously thought I was like, oh, like I like feel good understanding this, and I was like, I literally understand like 10-20%. Like this is really bad. But you know, by the end of the month, like I think I've had like a little bit more motivation. I've been revisiting some old content, like rewatching some old web dramas that I haven't watched in a while, and those are really fun. And I think, you know, like the amount of time I can realistically spend on Korean is like being very conscious about, you know, this is also rough, like walking around like to class and stuff. Like I enjoy listening to music, but like that's kind of important, like podcast time. So, you know, like 20 to 30 minutes of podcast time walking around, and then, you know, videos in the morning and before bed. And I could probably find more time, but I just like, I guess, choose not to. I probably should. What else? I wrote a letter to the dry cleaner lady from last month. Here, I'll put the video back on. If you remember from last month, the dry cleaner by my house, it's run by an elderly couple who is Korean. And my parents had visited, and I guess they asked about me. So I was like, oh, you know, I'll write a little letter. And I kind of drafted one up. It was terrible. I had ChatGPT kind of help me make it sound a little bit better. And handwriting was interesting. I had literally never handwritten Hangul before. I got like, you know, like a little practice sheet, and I like kind of traced over all the letters. And it's, I guess, obviously just something that takes practice, and I never really done it before. But, you know, getting the spacing right, and the sizing right, because, you know, the same letter is very different sizes between kind of like blocks, right? Where if it's like part of like a 2-character block, it'll be a lot bigger versus like a 3 or 4. And so I think that kind of tripped me up. So it kind of looked a little weird. But, you know, that was sweet. And hopefully they like it. You know, I think, like I said, like I still feel really good about kind of this being a long-term commitment, right? Like, you know, I want to be someone who has achieved, you know, kind of a high degree of mastery in one of those long-term skills, right? Like, I think it's really cool to, you know, look back on yourself and be like fuck yeah, like I've been doing this shit for like 2 or 3 years. And so, yeah, it keeps going. So for next month, you know, the same kind of stuff. I think, you know, kind of longer term, right? Like as we approach like the last like 6 months of year 2, I think you know, like I said, I think I would have like hoped that my comprehension would have been better by now. Like I said, like I still feel like when I watch videos and TV, it's just like the same kind of percentage as in May. which is a long time ago. So that feels okay, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Like, I don't think there's like a predefined schedule I should be attached to, and it just you just keep going. So I think that one last thing. That's why I have it on the screen. The new QWR album came out, and I really liked them, and I really enjoyed kind of going through the lyrics and learning some new vocab and stuff from there, and that was quite fun. But yeah, I think, like I said, as we approach year 2, which was when I kind of started wanting to output, like I said, the refold guide, and like I said in previous videos, I believe them when they say that, like, in order to output in a specific domain, you need to have like near effortless comprehension of domain, and I am very, very far from that, even for like the slice of life web TV or web drama domain that I mainly focus on. And so, 6 months is a long time, and there's definitely an opportunity to make a lot of progress. I'm not sure how much time I will spend each day in those next 6 months. But like I said, I definitely, like, some part of me, I think would be disappointed if I look back and say, like, oh, I really wish I'd spent 30 more minutes, because, like, obviously I have 30 more minutes, right? Yeah, that's about it. Thank you all for liking the videos and commenting and watching. It always makes me very happy to read the comments and know that I'm not just sending this into some endless void. So I hope you all are having a wonderful September. I've had a nice month, I think. And I will see you all in October for month number 18. All right? So thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.